I might test you, Sash, by doing something wrong, you see. So you should keep your skill together.
Yeah, okay.
Don't try to make things easy for me, okay?
Okay.
Okay. I was leaning. You got to use your skill. You feel me leaning? Let me go, that's it. Now you're not letting me go enough, you see? In other words, here, lean on me. I'll show you what I mean.
Okay.
If you lean on me, that's not leaning. You think this is leaning. See, this is not leaning. If you actually lean. There, but see how I'm holding you here? Hardly at all. This is what you're doing. Now lean on me again. That's not leaning. Leaning means, there, see this?
Yeah.
Now here's what you're doing. See, once you do this, I'm not punished for leaning at all, because I can't make a wave. The whole trick is, there's the wave. That's it, right? See, you have to let the wave happen and follow it, right? There's a classic that says, you know, that uprooting the opponent is like uprooting a tree. You know, because you get this. Because every movement of the tree gets stronger, right? But you have to let it go. Anyone who's ever tried to uproot a tree knows you can kind of get it going, and then if you accidentally kind of put force on it, it stops, right? So when you, now try leaning again.
I lean.
Yeah. See if you can resist me here. Not leaning enough. You have to really resist it. There we go. See now I'm listening? This means that, see, our situation may not be stable. That is to say, once I lean, I might not just go back like this. I might go back like, you have to, this. And you didn't listen enough. I gave you something, but you resisted it. So it means once I lean, when I'm coming back, I can do anything. I can like flail around like a maniac. So you have to just let all that go. If you stop any of it, then I use it against you. Right. I was pretty bad, but you were worse.
Yeah.
That's all that counts. Okay? So again, here. Now, better, but not quite good enough. In other words, after I lean, after I've made this huge mistake and catch myself, I've got to feel nothing. When I try to get you, you've got to completely neutralize. You have to let me, in other words, you have to let my recovery be completely free, like I am just flailing around by myself. Then you can catch me. Just like the tree. Like I say, you can't let the tree go a little bit and then stop it. That was the next wave. You stopped it too much, you see?
Yeah, I see.
Because I can lean once, and then I can lean again, right? There we go. You got to keep, as long as I want to stumble after you, you got to let me. You can't stop me and say, no, you've made enough mistakes now, I can punish you. You got to keep letting me make mistakes.
Very tiny taste after this. Up. Up.
Good. Good. That's more like it. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Don't worry.
Now the real trick is, don't wait till the person pushes to make this balance. It's too late. Make the balance at the slightest touch. So you feel like as soon as the person touches you, he's uprooted. You should do the same to me. I can feel it if you do.
Yeah.
Now, what was the problem? He made the air ball, but the fulcrum of his air ball was up here. In other words, there was still more pressure here than on the floor. Still more. As long as his fulcrum is off center, I can make it on center. Okay. So, if I do the same thing, see, now mine is off center. You feel it? No, now you've pushed back here.
Yeah.
Release this into the floor. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
As I'm fond of saying, think of the floor as me. You're not being attacked just by me. You're being attacked by the floor. So you have to, yes, there we go. You have to send just as much force in every direction. That's what makes it work. So at the same time, you have to be ready for changes. And at the same time, you are still letting the wave happen. In other words, I don't have to hurry if I can make better taijis than you. If I couldn't, I would have to get you before you get me. But since I can uproot you, you can go ahead and get me, but it bounces back to you. So all I'm interested in is not being first, but being accurate. Oh. So the reason people lose when they have skill is that at a certain point they stop. So you've got some skill, but you're going, there it is, there it is, there it is, that must be enough. You have to just never let it stop. Let it just continue on and on and on. Because remember, no matter how perfectly you get everything, ready? I can always lean on you.
Yeah.
So you must never say, ah, got it. Now I can just stop listening and discharge. No, you never stop listening. The whole secret is yielding. Once you've made the wooden ball, if you try to push me with the wooden ball, I can use that to push the floor. And that uproots you. So it means once the wooden ball is created, whoever has more pressure on it can be discharged by putting it into the floor. See, as long as I can do this and you do like this, it means you are still leaning a little bit. Because if it goes right into the floor, if anything, you'll go backwards, not forwards. Remember, there's nothing, how can I put it, nothing impossible about a mutual discharge. Well, you didn't get discharged that time. You got to try to discharge me. I got to try to discharge you. Now, that does not mean anything. In other words, it doesn't mean something was wrong. It just means that we both got uprooted simultaneously. But here, I managed to keep the fulcrum in the right place. So remember, you're always trying to find the fulcrum through the dynamic. If I stop, there's no dynamic. If I feel pressure and push on it, it means there's much more pressure here than the floor. If I put pressure and release it, I can balance. If I put pressure and release it, and you are not easily uprooted, it means you're leaning. You can lean, see?
Yeah.
In other words, anyone can resist this technique simply by being clumsy. But actually, that's not exactly a good thing to be in a fight. So here I got everything balanced, and he says, no, I'm not going to let him discharge me. Oh, you let me discharge you.
Yeah.
Stop me.
Okay.
Whatever it takes. In other words, most people, when they use leaning, they don't realize they're leaning. They just think they're being forceful. But actually, they're leaning. So he doesn't have to think of leaning. All he has to think is, I'm not going to be discharged. I'm not going to be discharged. Oh, then he's leaning. And then he creates this wave. Right. And then I follow the wave. But again, even if that happens, you didn't lean.
Yeah.
See, as long as he doesn't lean, my balancing act works perfectly. As soon as he leans, here, but now, because I've used so much gripping on him, he can, all right, nice. He can use my force against me. So the essential thing is, when he leans, see, he can't feel any influence here at all. I'm just listening. And now I can follow perfectly. And one thing about the eyes, interesting. When you discharge, it doesn't work like this. Okay? This means I'm predicting the discharge. Actually, my sight is like this. It's everywhere. I'm not trying to particularly look at him. When I feel the balance, there it goes. But notice, as he is released, then I follow him. So my sight follows my discharge, does not precede it. All I should be concerned with is keeping balance.
Okay.
But once I've got it and he's released, I feel automatically this look. And also I can do this. I can keep following him, you see. So I only choose to just let him go. In fact, Mr. Ju, my teacher, had said, the discharge is not a weapon. You're not trying to make the discharge be your force. This is going to make you be aggressive like this. All it is something that makes him completely vulnerable. In other words, it produces vulnerability on his part because it uproots him. And then it's very easy to do anything I want to do. So don't think of the discharge as kind of like some sort of nuclear power or something. It can be very slight. It can uproot just a tiny bit. But then he becomes completely vulnerable to attack.